project is over a man named Herman, who is actually my great-uncle. He was actually a soldier in the Vietnam War. But before all this happened, he lived a relatively normal life for a kid of his day. He grew up in a small, quiet town called Whitesville, where everyone knew each other by their first name, and everyone was basically family. Also, nothing much interesting happens. Like many kids of the time, he played outside with his other neighbors, the boys, and had a sibling, which would be his younger sister named Carmi. He attended church, as many did in the small town, but he was actually the altar boy. And when he came of age to get a job, he worked at the garage to help support his family. All was normal until signs of war was rising, and with this drafts. This war was the Vietnam War, which was one of America's most negative wars. Many protested not wanting to be drafted, marching in D.C., burning draft cards, because they didn't believe in fighting a war they didn't believe in. His whole family was stressed, wondering what would happen to him. But instead of waiting around for him to be put into a branch he didn't want to, Herman joined the Marines. As his sister said in our interview, he wasn't one to just stand around and let things happen. While others ran and protested, he ran in head first for what he believed it was his duty to fight in the war, to fight in our war. This war was different from the others. Carmi believes that Herman was forced to grow up too quickly and that he witnessed horrors that no other man should ever have to see. Like booby traps that could maim any man. But in letters that Herman wrote home, there was one detail that stuck with him. Child soldiers. And this really hurt him because he loved kids. But perhaps the most demoralizing thing is that the majority of the American public shunned the American troops that came home and offered them no respect.
This morning I woke, restless and heady, with blood pulsing fierce in the vein. There's light on a line this morning, and maybe forever I move.
I think when he joined the Marines, he really didn't have enough time really didn't have enough time to learn. What am I trying to say?
He didn't have time to grow up. They made a man of him when he was in there.
Right.
He was so young.
But what was it that our cousin who was a Marine also, he said that they didn't give him enough time to learn, train like they should have. Because he was in there for like 8 weeks, and he did the typical 8-week stuff, and then he came home on a 30-day leave, and then it wasn't too long after that they said,
and it was 2 weeks he was over there.
Yeah, and
But sadly, 2 weeks into the war, Carmi and the family received a telegraph reporting Herman's death. He was hit by a stray enemy mortar blast when he had the pro in his Jeep. This leads me to say that Herman deserves to have the road named after him. He may not be a hero in the traditional sense, but he fought in a war everybody else afraid to be in. He believed that it was his duty to protect civilians. But this is not the sole reason why he should be memorialized, but it can bring together the community because their town had someone that can contribute something bigger than themselves. And with this idea, everyone will have something in common. But perhaps the most important idea is that the family would have somewhere to grieve. This may be a simple sign, and some may undervalue it, but in Carmi's eyes, she sees it as a community remembering their sacrifice and acknowledges it, and that they're thankful. And emotional troubles is always easier when you know you have others there for you.